It was the morning of December 23, 2015, just 2 days before Christmas. Emergency responders were dispatched to a home in Ellington, Connecticut, after a frantic 911 call came in from Richard Dabate, claiming that his house had been broken into by a masked intruder who had shot and killed his wife, Connie Dabate. When police arrived at the scene, they found Connie Dabate, 39 years old, dead on the floor of their basement. She had been shot twice with a gun that Richard had purchased just 2 months earlier. Richard himself was found in the kitchen, alive, tied to a folding chair with superficial stab wounds and what appeared to be a head injury. He claimed he had been attacked and that the intruder had gotten the gun and shot his wife while he was restrained. Richard described the attacker as a tall, burly man in a mask and camouflage. He said the man had surprised them in the home and that Connie had tried to run but was shot. It sounded like a terrifying home invasion. But as investigators dug deeper, the story began to unravel. The timeline doesn't add up. Initially, police treated Richard as a survivor. But soon, inconsistencies in his story began to raise red flags. The supposed home invasion had occurred around 9 a.m. Yet Connie's FitBit told a different story. Yes, FitBit. The digital fitness tracker Connie wore showed that she had walked over 200 steps after the time Richard claimed she was killed. It indicated she was alive and active for over an hour longer than the timeline Richard gave. Even more, security camera footage from the local gym confirmed Connie had gone to her morning workout class, as she did every day. After the workout, she had returned home. The footage also showed no sign of a suspicious person entering or leaving the neighborhood around the time of the alleged break-in. Then there were the electronics. Richard had been using his phone and Facebook before and after the murder, casually checking email and social media, behavior that seemed bizarre for someone claiming to be tied up and injured. As detectives dug into the couple's relationship, a motive emerged. Richard had been having an ongoing affair with a woman he had met years earlier. The affair wasn't just a fling. It was serious. The other woman had recently told Richard she was pregnant with his child. Text messages between them revealed Richard had been lying to both women. He promised his girlfriend that he would leave Connie and that they'd start a life together. He claimed he and Connie were getting divorced even though that wasn't true. As Christmas approached, the pressure on Richard mounted. He was juggling 2 lives and about to be exposed. Then, 2 days before the holiday, Connie was dead. Investigators conclude it was an inside job with mounting evidence. Police arrested Richard Dabate in 2017, nearly 2 years after the murder. He was charged with murder, tampering with evidence, and making a false statement. Prosecutors argued that Richard had carefully planned the murder to make it look like a home invasion gone wrong. He thought he could cover up the crime, cash in Connie's life insurance policy, and start a new life with his mistress and unborn child. But he underestimated the digital trail. The Fitbit data, cell phone records, emails, and surveillance footage all contradicted his version of events. His wounds were superficial and appeared self-inflicted. There was no evidence of a struggle, and no sign of forced entry. The case finally went to trial in May 2022, and the courtroom was packed. Connie's family sat silently as the disturbing details were laid out. Richard's defense claimed that the intruder had indeed been real, and that the technology was flawed. But the prosecution presented a tight timeline, backed by digital evidence. The Fitbit alone became one of the most unusual and decisive pieces of evidence in a murder trial to date. After a 3-week trial, the jury took just a few hours to deliberate. Richard Dabate was found guilty of all charges, including murder. In August 2022, Richard Dabate was sentenced to 65 years in prison, without the possibility of parole. He is currently serving his sentence in a Connecticut correctional facility. His girlfriend, who had given birth to his child, was not charged with any crime. She had believed Richard's lies and had no knowledge of his deadly intentions. Connie Dabate was remembered by her friends and family as a kind, loving woman who worked as a pharmaceutical sales representative. She was planning for Christmas with her husband, unaware that he had made her the target of a cold and calculated murder.